Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Surprise Jab Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Ruger, surprising you with new topics every single week and jabbing you with your daily dose of UFC information. And we are coming off a red-hot pay-per-view. UFC 299 did not disappoint. We are going to be recapping all the fights on the card, talking about what's next for some of the fighters to main event this episode of the podcast. I did have a lot planned for today, but I won't lie. I just got busy all day. I was doing homework. I had to buy groceries, had to buy some stuff. Then I actually went over to my buddy's place, and all of us were just playing football, playing bags, just having a great time because it was so nice out here, and kind of just lost track of time. And I could record this on Tuesday, but there's other stuff to be talked about Thursday, so we have to get this recorded today. So, like I said, going to be talking about UFC 299. Also going to be going over up to as of March 11th, all the major NFL signings and trades that took place, because a lot of signings took place today. Absolutely insane. We're going to be talking about that, and that's pretty much the basis of it. So yeah, let's waste no more time. Let's get right into it, and let's kick your week off with a bang. Starting us off, of course, with some new UFC news. We've had a plethora, might I add, of fights being announced. Excited to talk about all of them briefly for you real quick. First off, let me say UFC 300 is now complete. The final fight added was a lightweight bout between top 15 guys Jalen Turner and Renato Moicano. That is a banger fight going down on the prelims, but the order of the fights was announced. And Charles Oliveira, Arman Tsarukyan, of course, on the main card. It's the opener. But the second fight on the main card is Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage, which is an absolute disgrace. Might I say that? Bo Nickel, undefeated, might I add, fighting a bum in Cody Brundage. Cody Brundage is honestly trying to be buried by the UFC. The UFC is trying to bury Cody Brundage. They are just sick of this guy. And I don't know why they keep putting Bo Nickel on the main card. I get he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. I get he's a hot prospect. But you have so many former champions on the prelims below him. It is just astounding. Astounding the UFC elected to go this route. It honestly doesn't surprise me as much as I thought it would, but just my guess. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 7 former champions on the prelims, and on the main card, don't get me wrong, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 freaking champions on there. But Bo Nickel, Cody Brundage does not belong on there. Cody Brundage is on a 2-fight win streak, but he is 4-6. He's 4-5 in the UFC. He's just not it. Bo Nickel, hot prospect, all of his wins coming in round 1, but I expected a different fight on UFC 300. But Renato Moicano, Jalen Turner, that is the newest fight added, and I absolutely love it. Also announced in the past few days, UFC Vegas 91, going down April 27th, has a main event official for it, as number 5 ranked Matthias Nicolau and number 6 ranked Manel Kape of the flyweight division will be doing battle. Excited for that matchup. Matthias Nicolau is 7-2 in the UFC. Actually holds a win over Manel Kape. Other wins include Tim Elliott and Matt Schnell. Manel Starboy Kape 4-2 in the UFC on a 4-fight win streak. Wins over Felipe Dos Santos, David Dorkin, Ian McCall. This guy is very, very talented. Excited for that main event. I will be riding with Manel Kape, of course. We'll see what happens in that one. Also announced, Morgan Sheree versus Chepe Mariscal going down at UFC Vegas 90, April 6th. Morgan, the last Pirate, Sheree is 19-9-1 and won his UFC debut back in Paris with a round 3 TKO. He holds wins over William Gomez and Manolo Zucchini, who are both very tough competitors. He's actually a former interim champion in Cage Warriors and the former featherweight champion of Cage Warriors, another promotion in Cage Warriors. That may be overseas, actually. I think that's in Europe. Chepe Machine Gun Mariscal, 2-0 in the UFC. Big wins in both of them over Trevor Peek and, his name's escaping me, good with leg kicks. Unranked Jack Jenkins. Yes, the Australian Jack Jenkins. Also holds a win over Pat Sabatini. Yeah, Morgan Sheree will be in for a tough fight against Chepe Mariscal. Going to be a fun one there. Miles Johns will be stepping in on short notice to replace Davey Grant against Cody Gibson at UFC Vegas 90 on March 23rd. Miles Chapo Johns is 13-2, 4-2 in the UFC. Wins over Vince Morales and Adrian Yanez highlight those wins. Cody the Renegade Gibson, of course, was the runner-up on the past season of The Ultimate Fighter. He is 1-4 in the UFC, but he hasn't fought in a while. I will say it is pretty crazy. He actually holds a win over John Dodson, notable UFC alum. He was just a top guy for a long time. It'll be fun to see that one. I'm leaning probably Miles Johns in that one, but it should be a tough one. Rene Yaha and Victor Henry will be doing battle at UFC Vegas 91 going down April 27th. Of course, Rene Yaha is 28-11 professionally, 13-5. And the UFC holds wins over Eddie Wineland and Kyung Ho Kang. Victor La Mangosta Henry is 2-1 in the UFC, 23-6 professionally, and holds wins over Ronnie Barcelos and Kyler Phillips, who we'll actually be talking about later on our card recap. Hoofda, we got a lot. UFC Atlantic City going down March 30th has a fight between Nate Landwehr and Jamal Emmers. Jamal Emmers steps in on short notice as Nate Landwehr was supposed to fight Pat Sabatini. Unfortunately, that fight fell apart, but Nate the Train Landwehr wins over Darren Elkins. David Onama highlights some of his stuff. Actually was an M1 global champion in the M1 promotion. Jamal Pretty Boy Emmers is 3-3 in the UFC, holds a win over Alexander Hernandez and Corey Sandhagen, actually. Wow. Very, very crazy. Actually holds a win over him. Should be exciting to see that one. Here's a guy I'm ready to see fight going down, when is this? UFC Vegas 92 on May 18th. Abus Magomedov is back. He'll take on Walray Alves. Walray Alves actually holds a win over Colby Covington. Fun fact, submitted him way back in 2015. Abus Magomedov 1-2 in the UFC. And, honestly, his two losses are to Sean Strickland and Caio Barallo. I don't think that hurts him, and I'm happy to see him getting another shot here against Walray Alves, who's kind of getting old. He's almost 40. Going down at UFC Vegas 92 as well is a ranked flyweight bout between number 9 ranked Tim Elliott and number 13th ranked now Tatsuro Taira. I love Tatsuro Taira, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Elliott, by the way, 19-13, 8-11 in the UFC. Been in the UFC forever. Actually holds wins over Tagir Lembekov, Jeans Pulver, Louis Smoka as well. Actually won season 24 of The Ultimate Fighter. Tatsuro Taira, 5-0 in the UFC, 15-0 professionally. This guy is a killer. So excited to see Tatsuro Taira fight and finally get a top 10 guy. It has been far too long. It has been a long time coming, and I'm ready to see the Japanese star get a win. UFC Vegas 89 on March 23rd has a fight replacement as Yusuf Zalal will be stepping in to fight Billy Quarantillo. Billy Quarantillo is supposed to fight Gabriel Miranda. Gabriel Miranda had to pull out. Happy to see Billy Quarantillo staying on this card. Billy Quarantillo holds wins over Alexander Hernandez and Damon Jackson, 6-3 in the UFC. Yusuf the Moroccan Devil Zalal is on a 5-fight win streak after being cut by the UFC. Happy to see him back in action. One of my favorite unranked flyweights, Joshua Van, will be stepping in on short notice to fight Luquis Rocha. Luquis Rocha was supposed to fight Jose Johnson at UFC Vegas 90 on April 6th. Josh Fearless Vans will step in, and this will be his 4th fight in the UFC where he has stepped in on short notice. By the way, in those past his 3 UFC fights, 3-0, 10-1 professionally. This guy is fun. And recently announced today, March 11th, we got some ranked light heavyweight action, which I am absolutely pumped for, as number 10 ranked Anthony Smith will take on number 15th ranked Vitor Petrino at UFC 301 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Anthony Lanhart Smith, former title challenger, wins over Ryan Spann, Volkan Ozdemir, Mauricio Rua. Vitor Petrino, 4-0 in the UFC, 11-0 professionally, coming off one of his biggest wins against Tyson Pedro 2 weeks ago. Should be a fun one. Excited for all these fights, guys. They're going to be fun. They're going to be a great time. Very, very much pumped for it. And one fight that is currently being rumored, actually, which I just want to note on real quick, is top 10 men's bantamweights. This fight may be rebooked between number 3 ranked Corey Sandhagen and number 10 ranked Umar Nurmagomedov. It is rumored they may be fighting at UFC 303 International Fight Week in June. That's just a rumor at the moment, but if that does come true, I will be absolutely pumped. Very excited for that. So as you can see, a lot of new UFC fights are on our horizon. Very, very excited for all of them. A lot of Apex cards ahead, but it'll all pay off April 13th when we get UFC 300. Let's keep this podcast moving. Let me just quickly talk about actually my spring break. So yeah, I'm actually back from spring break. It was a fun time. I was off from March 1st to March 10th, which honestly was a doozy coming back to school today. I was in accounting today just going, why in the world am I here? But professional selling wasn't too bad. I actually enjoy that class. Really, really feel like I learned stuff out of it. Spring break was fun being back in my home gym in Forest Lake, Minnesota. The Anytime Fitness there is absolutely amazing. It has so many great equipment and just added some new back equipment, including a T-bar row, which I've been waiting forever to use something like that. It actually has a pendulum squat, which really helps you get depth. So that was fun to see. Got to hang out with some of my old buddies from high school. Actually saw Dune Part 2, as I've mentioned before, which that I cannot stop thinking about that movie. I'm actually probably going to get the book. If I'm being honest, I'm probably going to get the Dune book and read it as kind of like a before bedtime book. I mean, that movie was absolutely amazing. That's probably in my top 10 movies of all time, which is a super rare feat for me as I rarely change my top 10 movies. I'm just kidding. Who knows what my top 10 are? I have so many favorites. But yeah, it was fun seeing that. Spent a bunch of money getting food, had a fun time seeing the girlfriend. And yeah, going to Chicago was nice on Thursday. What would that have been? March 7th, I want to say, March 7th. Went to Eau Claire, Wisconsin with the parents. We hit up some of the bars down there, which was super fun. Had a bunch of fun drinks, great food. Headed in Friday, celebrated my grandpa's 80th birthday at a very fancy restaurant. High bill from what I've been told by the parents. I mean, my goodness, eating fancy is quite expensive. And I won't lie, maybe I'm just a simpleton. Maybe I'm a peasant. But I mean, the expensive food, it didn't really wow me. I've been wowed in more places than with that. I mean, I'm getting Wagyu meatballs for like $25. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, it tastes good, but it's a meatball. It's a meatball. I mean, what more do you want? What more do you want? Saturday, of course, was a fun time. Actually, my cousins, or my uncle and aunt, they have a home gym, and it is super nice. Got a little workout in down there. Went for a run. I mean, the weather was amazing. They have a nice neighborhood. And then, yeah, we actually went out for the day, grabbed lunch for one of my cousin's birthdays at a place called Mod Pizza, which is like a Chipotle, but for pizza. It was a very interesting experience. Okay pizza, I'll say. It was okay. I think David Port and I would have given it a bad rating based on the flop of it, but I've had worse. Then went bowling, and I actually won a game of bowling against my three cousins. My one cousin, Kevin, actually smoked us the next game. He hustled us. Turns out he bowls like every 2 weeks, but I won one game. And I was getting strikes, guys. Okay, I was getting strikes. I was on fire. Then went and played some pool, and it turns out my dad is a pool master. I completely forgot that he actually had a pool table at his old house when he was a little kid, and when he couldn't go anywhere, he'd just go in the basement and play pool, and he was just smoking all of us. I mean, he cooked me when we were in Eau Claire. We played each other. He beat me in 3 turns. I didn't even get a ball in. It was embarrassing. But, yeah, that was super fun. And we went out to dinner. Super nice. Watched the Duke-UNC game. That was an absolute heater of a game. Excited for March Madness. Let me just tell you, we're going to be talking all about March Madness here on the Surprise Jab podcast. Probably might even be looking at the AP Top 25 teams in the coming weeks. I actually saw there's a couple of teams that are in. I saw Drake is in, Drake University, Longwood University's in, and Stetson's in. Stetson, that has the name of a little Cinderella run team, if I'm being honest. Excited to watch that. And then came back, watched UFC 299. And just watching UFC with people around me just always makes it so fun. I get so excited. The momentum goes well and just cannot wait for it. Sunday, March 10th, came back home. Drive went by fine. I actually rewatched the first Dune. Rewatching the first Dune movie, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, is way better after you've seen Part 2. Dune Part 1 makes it such an easier watch. It's actually a fun watch after you've seen Part 2. I'll say that for certain. I've actually been watching the Lord of the Rings movies. I'm about an hour and a half left of the extended edition of Return of the King. That's been fun watching. I forgot to watch The Bachelor tonight. So Thursday, I'm gonna have to find some time to watch The Bachelor tomorrow, because I have no idea what woman Joey's gonna pick. That's something else I got to do. But yeah, I came back down to college. Actually took a different route down. Kind of swung right past, kind of through. Oh my gosh, I don't even know the names of the towns. Waseca, Faribault. I think I was in. Where was I? In Eagle Lake. I was in a bunch of random Minnesota towns. Kind of thinking I took 35 down instead of 169. But what do I know? I always like to spice it up sometimes. Moved back into college, planned out my week, and now we've been going. Lots of exams, lots of homework to be done for me. But guess what? We still find time for the Surprise Jab podcast. I got to give the fans what they want, because I know I got fans out there already. That's enough about me. Let's get into something else before our main event, which will be UFC 299 recap. There actually was a different fight, if you will, that went down Friday, and that was Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua. Of course, Francis Ngannou, former UFC heavyweight champion, transitioned into boxing, fought Tyson Fury to a close split decision, took on Anthony Joshua, world-renowned boxer, and let me just tell you, Francis Ngannou got paid $20 million for that fight. $20 million to be slapped around like a puppet. I mean, Anthony Joshua absolutely embarrassed him and knocked him out cold. I want you guys to go watch Francis Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic 2, the rematch at UFC 260, which went down in, I believe it was March of 2021. Watch the knockout Francis Ngannou lands on Stipe Miocic. Then go back to March 2024 and watch the knockout Anthony Joshua lands on Francis Ngannou. They are oddly similar. Ngannou probably done with boxing for now. He's got a big fight with, I believe it's Renan Ferreira in the PFL, which is another, of course, MMA organization. Hopefully that fight goes down. I hope Ngannou takes some time off because he got dropped like 3 times in that fight. In round 2, Anthony Joshua knocks him out. I was watching the car ride to dinner Friday, and I was almost in just disbelief. I was like, Francis Ngannou used to have the scariest power. I mean, I watched him knock out Jairzinho Rozenstruik in 20 seconds. All right, scary power. Anthony Joshua did not fear that at all. And Anthony Joshua was primed for big fights with Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, maybe even Deontay Wilder. Big fights ahead for the heavyweight king, Anthony Joshua. So that was interesting to see. I won't lie. I just figured I'd touch on that briefly. It was a very interesting boxing match to see. There's nothing much to talk about. The rest of the card, actually, the second fight, or the main event for that, which they just call the undercard as a whole, was a fight between these two guys, and one of them, who was the heavyweight champion, light heavyweight champion, however boxing works, didn't throw a single punch in the final round. It was very weird. Lost his belt, lost the decision. It was a very, very weird fight to think. I think he was called like Zhang Ming or something. He was some absolute monster of a man. He just wasn't throwing or something. Comical to watch, but yes, Francis Ngannou, sad to see you get knocked out, but you got paid for it. You got paid. Boxing might have gotten you some money, but it certainly didn't bring you any glory. Sad to say, Francis Ngannou. I'll tell you who's also going to be hunting for some glory, and that's all the new NFL players joining different teams. I mean, free agency has been going ballistic. Let's check in with the 2024 NFL free agency tracker, courtesy of the NFL website, which was actually last updated just about 30 minutes ago at 10:35 p.m. I don't even know if that's Central, or I believe it's Central Time. I believe it's updated to my time. And all the other, notable additions is pretty much what we're going to be talking about for all the teams. Just going to talk about some guys that I notice. And, of course, we're going to talk about some of the bigger stars that have signed elsewhere, because I have some news about my former Minnesota Vikings quarterback, which we'll get to in a jiffy. So, thankfully, I don't have to actually use Instagram and look at all the NFL posts and team posts, as the NFL has very kindly generated everything into a division-by-division, alphabetically, might I add, to talk about all the new signings. So, let's go to the AFC East, as we have a lot of divisions to cover, a lot of new signings. First off, QB Mitchell Trubisky signed a 2-year, $5.25 million deal that's worth up to $8.5 million and includes $2.7 guaranteed. I think that was kind of an older addition, Mitchell Trubisky being the backup QB, which I honestly feel is pretty good. Him and Josh Allen honestly kind of remind me of similar styles. Of course, Josh Allen far more experience, but it's pretty much all the Bills have done. They've also added a Deion Dawkins. They extended him $60.5 million for 3 years. He's an offensive tackle. Very fascinating. Edge rusher AJ Espenza re-signs on a 2-year deal with up to $20 million. Ooh, very fun. Divisional rival, the Miami Dolphins, have signed former Falcons tight end Jonnu Smith to a 2-year, $10 million deal. I like that. Jonnu Smith had a couple good weeks with the Falcons. Helped me out in fantasy, that's for certain. They also signed Jordan Brooks to a $30 million deal for 3 years. He's a linebacker. Also signed linebacker Anthony Walker to a 1-year deal. Heading to the New England Patriots, a lot of stuff been going on with them for certain. Starting off at the QB position, Jacoby Brissett returns to his old team to a 1-year, $8 million deal, and I'm more excited to see who the Patriots draft in this upcoming draft. We're going to be talking about that on a future episode, as we'll mention in a second, but their starting QB has been traded. Their biggest signing, though, running back Antonio Gibson, who used to be on the Commanders, just signed a 3-year, $11.25 million deal. That includes $5.3 million guaranteed. Antonio Gibson should flourish on this team behind Ramondre Stevenson whenever Ramondre's out. Antonio was doing pretty good on the Commanders, but as we'll see with the Commanders, they have upgraded the wide receiver. And not wide receiver, the running back room. Not to diss Antonio Gibson, but they got a big guy they just signed. Kendrick Bourne, their top wide receiver, re-signed on a 3-year, $19.5 million deal with a max value of $33 million. Impressive stuff, Kendrick. Impressive stuff. And if we could get a good guy thrown to him, Kendrick Bourne could be worth a fantasy pickup. This man returning after having one of the most literally 20 points or 0 points games for fantasy. Hunter Henry signs a 3-year, $27 million deal that has a max value of $30 million. Welcome back, Hunter Henry. You're not even that bad. Hunter Henry's a pretty good guy. He is just kind of off and on in fantasy. Safety Kyle Duggar received the transition tag, which will pay him $13.8 million for the 2024 season. I don't even know what the transition tag is, and I don't want to click on the link because I don't know if it's going to take me to something else, but that's all the Patriots have been up to as of late. Jets haven't really done anything. They've signed John Simpson, offensive lineman, to an $18 million deal. And kicker Greg Zerling has re-signed on a 2-year, $8.4 million deal. Oh, thank you very much, Greg Zerline. But AFC East, it'll be interesting to see how they do next year. I'm certainly leaning towards more of a Bills and Dolphins dominating, but don't sleep on the Jets. A healthy Jets team, you got Aaron Rodgers back, Breece Hall has been taken over. This team could be scary, but we're yet to see what will occur. Moving on to the AFC North, Ravens. They've only made 2 moves as of the last week. Wide receiver Nelson Aguilar has signed a 1-year extension, and defensive lineman Justin Madubuik has re-signed on a 4-year, $98 million contract, $75.5 million guaranteed. Going to be such a useful addition to this already dominant Baltimore Ravens defense. I'm actually more intrigued to see what Odell Beckham does, if the Ravens want to bring him back or what they want to do, but Lamar Jackson, you really got to fix this playoff curse. You really do. Moving to the Bengals, Joe Mixon's going to have a very, very good backup man as running back Zach Moss has agreed to a 2-year, $8 million contract that includes $4.525 million in year 1 guaranteed. Running back Zach Moss was popping off when Jonathan Taylor was out. Happy to see the veteran getting a good team with the Bengals, potentially a Super Bowl team. But the biggest thing out of Cincinnati is that wide receiver T. Higgins received the non-exclusive franchise tag, which will pay him around $21.8 million for the 2024 season. But he has officially asked the team for a trade. T. Higgins will no longer be the second-hand man to Jamar Chase. No, he wants to be wide receiver 1 on his own team. And I have no idea where he could go. That'll be probably a whole different episode where we look at potential teams for the Bengals to send T. Higgins to. But go somewhere with a good quarterback. I'll tell you that. Go somewhere with a good quarterback and who can pay you. Moving on to the Cleveland Browns, this is actually what inspired me to talk about this, is when I saw this past weekend wide receiver Jerry Jeudy was acquired by the Browns from the Broncos in exchange for a 5th and 6th round pick. The trade does not become official until March 13th at 3 p.m. when the official new year begins, as all of these trades and signings will officially become official then. But Jerry Jeudy getting out of Denver, which it appears to be everyone's getting out of Denver from the looks of it. Happy to see him in Cleveland, and I don't know who will be throwing to him. Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, some new QB, but him and Amari Cooper, deadly duo. And edge rusher Zadarius Smith, former Packer, former Viking, has re-signed on a 2-year, $23.5 million deal with a max of $25 million. Very fun. The Pittsburgh Steelers, my favorite roommate Seth's team, they signed a new quarterback. They signed a brand new quarterback, a fresh start for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who struggled last season. And I want you to guess who it is. Did they sign? I don't even know any unsigned guys. They had Kirk Cousins out there, but guess what? Russell Wilson has planned to sign with the Steelers when the new year begins, and they're going to be paying him like $30 million or $40 million. It's ridiculous. Wow, Russell Wilson is going to be a Steeler. I don't know if that's an upgrade compared to Kenny Pickett and, gosh, I can't remember, Mason Rudolph. I don't know if it's an upgrade, but we'll see if Russell Wilson can bring back the Seahawk days, because those Bronco days were not it. Moving out of the AFC North into the AFC South, tight end Dalton Schultz has re-signed on a 3-year, $36 million deal that includes $23.5 guaranteed. Happy to see Dalton Schultz staying with this Texans team, which is really going to improve over the next few years, I feel. Dalton Schultz, one of the top 10 tight ends in the league, in my opinion. Cornerback Jeff Okudah has signed a 1-year, $4.25 million deal that's actually worth up to $6 million with $2.5 million guaranteed. Jeff Okudah, I don't even know why he got out of Detroit or if he got traded, but you know what? This Texans team should be dirty for the next few years. Kicker Ka'imi Fairbairn agreed to a 3-year, $15.9 million extension with the team. Wow, that seems like actually a lot. 3 years, getting about $5.3 million a year. I don't know, Ka'imi Fairbairn. You're not bad, but you don't really strike me as amazing. No offense if you ever want to come with the pod. Moving on to the Indianapolis Colts, Michael Pittman, their star wide receiver, has agreed to a 3-year, $70 million deal with $46 million of that guaranteed. And Pittman originally received the non-exclusive franchise tag that was like, you know what, just pay me, I'll play with you. And him and Anthony Richardson are going to be a dirty duo next year. Excited for that. Moving on to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have been making so many moves. First off, they acquired Mac Jones from the Patriots in exchange for a 2024 6th-round pick. Of course, the trade becomes official March 13th. But Mac Jones, going from being the starter in New England to being Trevor Lawrence's backup. And I won't lie, if Trevor Lawrence is ever having an off game, do not be surprised they bring Mac Jones in. This will be fascinating to see Alabama and Clemson QBs now joined together in Jacksonville, Florida. Interesting to see. Gabe Davis also signed a 3-year, $39 million deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this, oh my gosh, this just Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Calvin Ridley, Evan Ingram. This wide receiver core is getting nasty. Jaguars going to be good this year. Gabe Davis also has a max value of $50 million on that contract. Ezra Cleveland has signed a 3-year deal worth $28.5 million. That includes $14.5 million guaranteed. Sad to see my former Viking go, but man, Jaguars are loading up. And of course, edge rusher Josh Allen, not the Bills QB. The edge rusher has received the non-exclusive franchise tag, which will pay him $24 million for the season. Actually, safety Darnell Savage signed a 3-year deal with the team. Well, how about that? Moving on to the Tennessee Titans, of course, as we know, Derrick Henry left this team. Derrick Henry had enough. He said, guys, I'm good. I don't want to play with you anymore. So what did the Tennessee Titans do? They went out and signed former Cowboys running back Tony Pollard to a 3-year, $24 million contract. Him and, who is the Titans' other running back? Oh, this is gonna kill me. The Titans running back who kept stepping in for Derrick Henry when Derrick Henry got hurt. This one is really killing me. I'm refusing to give up until I find out who this is, because he is one of their guys. He is one of their he's actually a very good player. And I'm sorry I'm stalling, but I'm just so perplexed at what this man's name is. It's not Jonathan Ward. No, it's not. He has to be their third string. I know exactly his name when I'll see it, but I'm surprised he's not the starting running back in Tennessee. No, it is not Julius Chestnut. No, it is not. Sometimes they're Tyjae Spears. There we go, Tyjae Spears. That's who I thought was going to be the starter, but him and Tony Pollard are going to be a dynamic duo in the backfield. Fascinating to see. And also center Lloyd Cushenberry has signed a 4-year, $50 million deal with that team. Crazy. Final few teams in the AFC West. Denver Broncos, all they've done is really re-signed Will Lutz, who originally was planning to sign with the Jaguars, but Denver was like, you know what, we'll pay you more. They also signed two safeties, do some deals. Brandon Jones and PJ Locke. Yeah, Denver's not looking good. Kansas City Chiefs, they got one thing that's just struck me. Defensive lineman Chris Jones has re-signed a 5-year, $158 million deal. Insane. We all know where the Chiefs' money's going to go. You could get some better wide receivers. I can't lie. Moving on to the Las Vegas Raiders as quarterback Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew moving on from the Colts, where he actually had a very good run up until they just missed the playoffs, and he may be the starter in Las Vegas depending on who they draft. Signs a 2-year, $25 million deal. Happy to see the former Jacksonville Jaguar getting another chance at stardom. Running back Amir Abdullah has also re-signed with the Raiders. Fun to see. Defensive lineman Christian Wilkins has also signed a 4-year, $110 million contract. Yeah, Raiders are lining up that defensive end. You got Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins. Raiders are looking to be a contender. Moving on to the Los Angeles Chargers, the final team we'll talk about in the AFC. They actually signed Gus Edwards, former Ravens running back, to a 2-year, $6.5 million deal. That includes $3.375 million guaranteed. Tight end Will Dissly has also signed a 3-year, $14 million contract with the Chargers. And you may be wondering, wow, do they really need a backup for Austin Eckler? Well, guess what? In a second, you're going to see one of the most shocking moves of today was, as we'll see what the Commanders landed. First off, Cowboys haven't done anything. But I do have a sneaking suspicion that Derrick Henry is going to end up on the Cowboys. The Titans and the Cowboys kind of did a starting running back swap without really actually making a trade, which that's just my theory. But we'll see what happened. New York Giants have actually signed free agent Devin Singletary to a free agent contract. Happy to see Devin Singletary get a renewal in New York, and he's actually the starting running back as we speak, as let me just say the NFC made all of the big moves today. Also, edge Brian Burns, who has been traded from the Panthers in exchange for a 2024 second and fifth round picks, and Burns has agreed to a new 5-year deal with the Giants worth up to $150 million. The former first rounder had initially received the non-exclusive franchise tag from Carolina, and instead Carolina was like, you know what, we want this contract away, and we'll give you our 2024 second and fifth round picks. I don't know what Carolina's doing, nor do I know what New York is doing, but guess what? Brian Burns is getting paid. Philadelphia Eagles, they get better every year, I swear. They don't have DeAndre Swift anymore, but they have now signed Saquon Barkley to a 3-year, $37.755 million contract. 7.5, not 7.55. Let me just say, going from the Giants to the Eagles, Saquon is going to get booed out of his mind in New York. But, oh, man, the Eagles, they really want to make a run. They really feel they got something. This running back can be that guy. Also signed a couple edge rushers, Brandon Graham and Bryce Huff, and actually re-signed offensive guardman Landon Dickerson to a 4-year, $84 million extension with a max value of $87 million. Fun stuff. And then we get to the Washington Commanders, who made one of the most shocking and just was not expecting this deals of the day, as they have signed a 2-year deal for $11.43 million with Austin Eckler, former top 5 fantasy football draft pick. You won the top stars 2 seasons ago in Los Angeles, is now a Washington Commander. Austin Eckler, I don't know what to make of this. He may flourish. He may just be an average guy now, but wow, pretty crazy going from the Chargers to the Commanders. Was not expecting this. Also, tight end Zach Ertz has now signed with the Commanders on a 1-year deal for $5 million. Just crazy. And kicker Brandon McManus also signed a 1-year, $3.6 million contract. I mean, Austin Eckler dropping my jaw. Also, the Saquon, that I was not expecting that. Moving to my rival, the Chicago Bears, they signed DeAndre Swift to a 3-year, $24 million deal. I mean, come on. I finally got him out of Detroit, and now he comes back to Chicago. I mean, man, I don't know what to do, but, the Bears signing a top running back, it's giving me Caleb Williams vibes. They know Justin Fields is their top running guy. And they had Khalil Herbert, they had Rashawn Johnson, they had good guys. But man, DeAndre Swift going to add something. And apparently going to be here for three years. We'll see what happens. Offensive tackle Ryan Bates has also been traded from the Bills in exchange for Chicago's 4th-round pick in this draft. Loading up on the offensive line. That also says something. They might be drafting a QB. Moving on to Detroit, they re-signed their kicker, Michael Bagley. They agreed to a 1-year deal with edge rusher Marcus Davenport. Cornerback Carlton Davis has been traded from the Buccaneers, along with a 6th-round pick in 2024 and 2025 in exchange for a 2024 3rd-round pick. Interesting to see what's going on there. Another jaw-dropping trade has, not even a trade, just a signing, as Josh Jacobs said, you know what, I'll see you Las Vegas. I'm going to go to the Green Bay Packers. Oh my gosh. You got to be kidding me. I got to face Josh Jacobs twice every year. Signs a 4-year, $48 million deal. Oh my gosh. Includes a 12.5 signing bonus. That's million. Josh Jacobs is going to be here until I am 25 years old. Come on, Josh. Why? Of course it's the Packers. I'd rather have them go to the Bears. I don't even hate the Bears. I don't even hate the Lions. I'm not a Packer fan, okay? Also signed safety Xavier McKinnon, used to be on the Giants. A 4-year deal worth $68 million. Oh, my goodness. A lot of money. What have my Minnesota Vikings done? Nothing. Actually, you know what we did? We signed edge rusher Jonathan Greenard to a 4-year, $76 million contract which all but says Danielle Hunter's gone. And by the way, yeah, we don't have his QB anymore. And yeah, Justin Jefferson is now going to ask for a lot of money, which we might not be able to have. But we did re-sign tight end Johnny Munt. Huh? How about that? And we re-signed David Cusenberry. Huh? Fun stuff. Also, I might add the Packers dropped Aaron Jones. So Aaron Jones is a free man on the market. Very fun to see. Moving on to the NFC South, where my sweet prince, my favorite QB in the league. But is he a rival now? I don't know what to make of it. As Kirk Cousins has signed a 4-year, $180 million contract that includes a $50 million contract signing bonus. He also receives $100 million guaranteed, including $90 million in 2024 and 25, and another $10 million in 2026. Holy cow, Kirk Cousins got paid. And you know what? Maybe Atlanta will be good, but I don't care. I don't care, Kirk. You left Minnesota. You left us fans. I love you. But there's something stirring in me that I don't like. I just don't like that. Come on, Kirk. You should have stayed. We had some. Panthers, they signed offensive guard Robert Hunt to a 5-year, $100 million deal. They also signed offensive guard Damian Lewis to a 4-year, $53 million deal. I guess they really are investing in Bryce Young to be throwing that ball. Wow. 2 offensive guards, $153 million. Wow, crazy. Checking in with the New Orleans Saints, they actually agreed to a new 2-year deal with Demario Davis, who's entering the final year of his contract. Nice to see. I think he has he's like openly praying, which I absolutely loved after a game. He may have a podcast or something. Demario Davis, a stand-up guy. They also signed a new 2-year contract with Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger. Gonna be fun to see. The contract's worth $13.75 million with $10 million guaranteed. Checking out Tampa Bay, pay that man Baker Mayfield from Oklahoma to Cleveland, to the backup in Los Angeles, to what most thought was going to be a tanking season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which led to a divisional round exit. He's just received a 3-year, $100 million deal. So happy to see Baker Mayfield staying. And you know what? Mike Evans saw that and said, you know what? I'll re-sign a 2-year, $52 million deal. Antoine Winfield Jr. also received a non-exclusive franchise tag, and kicker Chase McLaughlin re-signed a 3-year, $12.3 million deal. So you're going to see Baker and Mike Evans the next 2 years, which honestly, I kind of like. Buccaneers, got to be careful with them. They're pretty sneaky. NFC West, is that a final? Is that our final thing? Yeah, the NFC West, the final 4 teams we're going to be looking at. Cardinals, they haven't done much. They signed Sean Murphy-Bunting, cornerback, to a 3-year, $25.5 million deal. They got that. Other than that, not much. The Rams, they re-signed Demarcus Robinson to a 1-year deal. Good for them. They signed a 3-year deal worth $22.5 million with Colby Parkinson. Fascinating to see. 49ers re-signed free agent Brandon Allen. They're re-signing on a free agent deal their backup quarterback, Brandon Allen. Fascinating. Edge rusher Leonard Floyd has signed a 2-year, $20 million deal with them. Oh my gosh. Scary line in San Francisco. My goodness. And the final team we're going to look at, the Seattle Seahawks, as a defensive end, Leonard Williams has agreed to a 3-year, $64.5 million contract. And tight end Noah Fant has re-signed on a 2-year, $21 million contract. But yeah, wow, big shockers of the day definitely goes to Kirk Cousins, dropping jaws all around the league. Josh Jacobs signing with the Packers, and the Packers just dropping Aaron Jones honestly has me a little stunned as well. DeAndre Swift signing with the Bears, another one of the biggies. Austin Eckler with the Commanders was not on my bingo card, and Saquon Barkley to the Eagles probably should have been, but man, oh man, a lot of shakeups in the 2024 NFL free agency, and it's not even the second day. I mean, this is the first day. Just something about this Monday, everyone woke up and said, you know what? We're going to go out there, and we're just going to be freaking signing guys and freaking, I don't even know, balling out. But, man, I don't know what the Vikings are going to do. Guys. I guess we're going to draft someone. I don't even care who we draft. There's so many quarterbacks in this draft. It's hard to say. If we don't draft one of the top guys, I'll be upset. But, I mean, no one will really make me mad. Drake May won't make me mad. If we land Caleb Williams, it won't make me mad. Drake, what's his name? The LSU guy. I can't think of his name. There's so many guys. Literally, I'm mind blanking. But yeah, we'll probably go into that on another episode. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about all these free agency ads, because there have been a lot. Wow. Oh, wow. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our final topic of the episode, our UFC 299 recap. Very excited to be getting this done as it's 11:30 at night here in the lovely city of Mankato, Minnesota. I don't have any plans, tomorrow. I don't have class until 2. But, I have homework to be done. I have to go to the gym. There's stuff to be done. So I can't be dilly-dallying. Let's get this on. So, UFC 299, an absolute star-studded event. It's really close to 298. But I think it may be the second best. I still think it's the second best pay-per-view of the year. I think UFC 298 still takes it for me, but 299 did not disappoint. Of course, we kick things off with Joanne Wood. And actually, you know what? Let me just, before we get into that, I went 9-4 on my predictions, 4-1 on the main card. We're now up to, what is it before? I think I was 55. What was I, 55 and 26? So I was 55 and 26. I go 9-4. I'm now 64-30 on the year for my full card predictions. I'm on absolute fire. But we kicked off women's flyweight, and what I tell you, it was a toss-up, Marina Moroz or Joanne Wood, and it went to Joanne Wood in this one. The veteran Joanne Wood getting a win in this women's flyweight matchup. She might even get a ranked spot back. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Joanne Wood getting her 17th career victory, her second straight win. Both those wins by split decision. Marina Moroz drops her third straight fight. Yikes, 3-fight losing streak. Tail of this fight, let me just read you the totals from this fight. Joanne Wood, 136 significant strikes to Marina Moroz's 102. 173 total strikes to Marina Moroz's 156. Both women landed a takedown. Marina Moroz had 6 minutes of control time. Round 1, though, went to Marina Moroz. No striking in this one. Really went 1 of 1 on takedowns for 4.5 minutes of control time. Landed 50 strikes compared to Joanne Wood's 21. Marina Moroz clearly took round 1. We get into round 2, though. This one stays on the feet. Joanne Wood outstrikes her significantly, 58-45. Total strikes 75-52. And this was probably the debated round as Marina Moroz, was kind of holding her up against the cage at times, trying to make things, competitive. But when round 3 came down to business, Joanne Wood landed a takedown. Only had 8 seconds of control time. Like I said, didn't do much with it, but did land a takedown. Marina Moroz went 0 for 1 on her takedown attempts, and Joanne Wood outstruck her on the feet 74-52. Total strike 77-54, and Joanne Wood gets it done. I don't really know what to do with her. I don't really know what to do with Joanne Wood. She's 38 years old, not going to get any younger. He'll turn 39 in December, I don't know if we really want to give her a shot up the rankings. But if you want to boost up someone, number 13th ranked Casey O'Neill could really use a good fight. And as for Marina Moroz, after being on a 3-fight win streak, is now on a 3-fight losing streak. Her next fight will probably be for her job. Got the night going. Wasn't necessarily the best fight, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't awful. I've seen worse. Next fight on the card, a flyweight matchup between Asul Almabayev and CJ Vergara. And we got the pick, right? Not the way, but Asul Almabayev remains undefeated in his professional career. 19-2, actually. Wow, he has a loss. Who am I thinking of? Am I thinking of someone else? I think there's a different... I was thinking of Azat Maksum, who actually lost. But Asul Almabayev, nonetheless, isn't undefeated, but he does improve to 19-2 and is on a 15-fight win streak, if I can correct myself. Let me just tell you for this one, grapple. Totals from the fight, 44 significant strikes to 29 in favor of Asul Almabayev, 85-66 total strikes in favor of Asul as well. He goes 9 of 14 on takedowns for 9.5 minutes of control time. Round 1, 4 of 6 on takedowns, 3 minutes control time. Round 2, 2 of 2 on takedowns, 3.5 minutes control time. Round 3, 3 of 6 on takedowns, almost 3 minutes of control time. Asul Almabayev improves to 2-0 in the UFC. He'll probably be on his way up the flyweight rankings before we know it, but he'll probably remain undefeated for now. As for CJ Vergara, win some, you lose some. Unfortunately, I was able to see his weakness was grappling, and I was able to exploit it with my prediction. I did think Asul would get a submission here. Wasn't really hunting any form of finish. Just kept going for control time, takedowns, and sometimes they'll do it for you, but he'll move on. He'll move up in the flyweight division. CJ Vergara, don't be discouraged by this one. Yuli fought a guy in a 15-fight win streak now, okay? And let me just tell you, them boys in Kazakhstan are built different. This guy trains with Shavkat Rakhmonov. That should tell you all you need to know. Next fight up on the card, and oh my goodness, the heavyweight matchup. This was so fun. Robelis Despaigne versus Josh Parsons. And by the way, we said Robelis Despaigne. Okay, however you say his last name. You know, the Cuban boy, the Cuban missile, if you will. The big boy is his nickname, despite being 35. I mean, my goodness, he had a 4-second knockout, a 3-second knockout, a 4-second knockout, and a 12-second knockout. This guy had so many quick knockouts, all by knockout, might add. You know, he was 4-0, all knockouts. And he finishes Josh Parsons in 18 seconds to get his 5th win in his career, 5th knockout. Incredible. Let me just tell you, the fight gets going, and Robelis is pushing against Josh, throws a head kick and slips. Josh Parsons blitzes. Robelis on the way back clips him, and just the sheer power Robelis generates from throwing. And by the way, he's literally falling backwards, just swinging, drops Parsons, lands 1 or 2 follow-up shots, and the ref saw enough. I mean, Andrew Glenn, whoever that ref was on that card, such a random ref to have, he gets it done. Robelis Despaigne, I don't even know what to do with him. I know we shouldn't give him the Shamil Gaziev treatment, but I want to see this guy in the ring. And someone like Rodrigo Nascimento, Marco Sergio de Lima. I mean, come on, this guy is so much fun. He's just insane. I mean, this guy's an 87-inch reach, which is insane. 6'7". You could see the sheer size of this man in the octagon, and honestly, I cannot wait to watch him fight next. I mean, come on, his last 5 wins, 4 of his 5 wins have all come in under 20 seconds. That's an incredible feat. He's a knockout in 3 seconds, 4 seconds. Who does that? Insane, incredible. Robelis, happy to see you back in action sooner rather than later. Next up, a fun one as we headed to the middleweight division for Michel Pereira to take on Michael Olakajasek. And I predicted a round 2 submission in this one, but Michel Pereira said, no, Zachary, I'm going to get a round 1 submission as he submits Michael Olakajasek in a minute. Literally wrapped up a rear naked choke on the feet, and that was that for Michael Olakajasek. 11 significant strikes to 1. It was a quick night at the office for Michel Pereira, who is now on a 7-fight win streak, and isn't even ranked. Put this man in the rankings. I'm sorry, we have to put this guy in the rankings or something. How can you be on a 7-fight win streak in the UFC, which I believe is tied for the longest in the division? Actually, Dricus du Plessis may have the longest win streak in the division, or maybe Brendan. And it's not Brendan Allen. It might be du Plessis. I don't know exactly who holds the current longest win streak. But I mean, it is absolutely immaculate. And his last 2 wins have both come, one by rear naked choke, one by a knockout, both in a minute. I mean, Michel Pereira, an absolute stud. Michael Olakajasek, he's been win-loss last few fights. Don't let this discourage you. This is just Michel Pereira's time. He's in his prime right now. He improves to 30-11 and gets his 7th career submission. Incredible 7-fight win streak, though. Just cannot overlook that. And let's give this guy a ranked opponent. And who should we give him for a ranked opponent? Let's reward him. How about number 9 ranked Jack Hermanson? How about number 9 ranked Roman Dolidze? Well, they're actually tied for 9th. Very odd. I mean, we could. How ambitious do I want to be? Number 14th ranked Chris Curtis. Number 12 ranked Paul Craig. I want to see this guy. Oh wait, Paul Craig has a fight booked against Cal Barallo. But yeah, Jack Hermanson, Roman Dolidze. They're open. Let's make that fight for UFC 301. My goodness, Michel Pereira, you're an absolute stud. Michael Olakajasek, by the way, of his 7 career losses now, 5 are by submission. This guy's weakness is being submitted. Wow. Moving on to our next fight, and, this was another toss-up for me. Light heavyweight. I went with a round 3 TKO for Ion Cutelaba. It was there at one point. He clipped Felipe, but I mean, just throughout this one, Felipe Lins just had Ion Cutelaba's number. It's honestly just like 2 guys that just look like, they're kind of washed up, but guess what is? In the light heavyweights, Felipe Lins beats Ion Cutelaba by unanimous decision. 67 significant strikes to 47, favor of Felipe. 119 total strikes for Ion, though, compared to Felipe's 73. But Felipe went 2 of 7 on takedowns for 5.5 minutes of control time. Round 1, Ion, defended 2 takedowns, got outstruck by 10 strikes, Felipe on top. Round 2, Felipe landed 1 takedown for 2.5 minutes of control time. Ion did have more total strikes. In round 3, same thing. Felipe 1 of 3 on takedowns, almost 3 minutes of control time, 68 total strikes to 17 in favor of Ion, but significantly, Felipe had 15-11. Felipe Lins, though, now 4-0 after dropping down a light heavyweight from heavyweight. good win for him. And I know some people are mentioning maybe a ranked shot, but I say we keep him fighting other unranked light heavyweights. I mean, I don't know what to do with this guy. I feel like he's just waiting to get knocked out. I mean, Felipe Lins, for goodness sakes, is 38 years old, turns 39 in August. And as for Ion Cutelaba, is now 17-10. And of those 10 losses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 have come in the UFC. He's now 1-4 his last 5. Yeah, it's probably getting to the end of Ion Cutelaba's time in the UFC. He feels like a PFL fighter. Feels like a Bellator fighter. Just has it written all over him. But with that, that concluded our early prelims. And Michelle Pereira and Robelis Despanque got performance bonuses for their round 1 finishes. Happy for both those guys. But then we got into the regular prelims, which were just probably some of the most stacked prelims I've ever seen. UFC 300 will top any card for star power, but UFC 299 putting up a rival. As number 13th ranked, Pedro Munoz took on unranked Kyler Phillips. This was a competitive bout, but 3 rounds to zip, just as we predicted it. Kyler Phillips gets it done. Kyler Phillips winning his 3rd straight fight, and he's now 6-1 in the UFC, and the only fight he lost. No one thought he lost. That was a bad decision, but Kyler outstrikes Pedro through all 3 rounds. Pedro actually went 1 of 8 on takedowns, was going to the takedowns, was able to land 1 in round 1 for 24 seconds control time. I mean, Kyler just had his number. 55 significant strikes to 19 in round 1, 32 significant strikes to 20 in round 2, 27 to 13 in round 3. Totals 114 significant strikes to 52 in favor of Kyler the Matrix Phillips, just on his game, and he'll now move into the rankings come tomorrow. Pedro Munoz, it's tough to say, but probably going to be ranked number 15th. I'm probably throwing Kyler Phillips at 13 or 14 in the rankings. Excellent win for him, though. Excellent win. Pedro Munoz, though, does drop his 2nd straight fight, and this does put him at 1-4 with 1 no contest in his last 5 fights, which isn't the best. But you know what? Kyler Phillips, younger than him, 28. Pedro's 37, for goodness sakes. Guy's been fighting in the UFC forever. Kyler, happy for you. MMA Lab, that gym was on fire tonight with Kyler Phillips winning, with Sean O'Malley winning. Absolutely good gym indeed. Moving on to our next fight. Oh, what should we do next with these fellas? Pedro Munoz should fight an unranked bantamweight. I'll say that there's a plethora of unranked bantamweights. As for Kyler Phillips, I don't really know. A fight with number 9 ranked Rob Font could be fun. Fight with number 15th ranked Ricky Simone. Fight with Dominic Cruz could be fun. A lot of options for Kyler. Bantamweight's loaded. It is just an ever-revolving division of top-tier guys. Okay. Next one, though, lightweight. Mateusz Gamrot defends his where's Mateusz ranked now? Number 6 spot in the men's lightweight rankings against number 11 ranked Rafael Dos Anjos. And despite almost getting knocked out in round 1, turns to the grappling and may have put on a boring show, very boring, just grappling, but gets it done. Mateusz Gamrot, the gamer Gamrot, whatever, gets it done. Totals from the fight: 57 significant strikes to 36 in favor of Rafael Dos Anjos, 111 total strikes to 39, 11 of 19 on takedowns for 7 minutes of control time. Round 1, Mateusz outstruck him on the feet, took him down twice, and despite getting dropped, still showed some power. Round 2, though, despite Rafael Dos Anjos out significantly striking him by 12-10, Mateusz landed 5 of 9 takedowns for almost 3 minutes at control time. That got it done in round 3. Mateusz landed 4 of 6. Mateusz Gamrot winning his 3rd straight fight. Impressive stuff. And he now improves to a very impressive 7-2 in the UFC. Both of his losses coming to Beneil Dariush and Guram Kudladze by decision. Mateusz also now has been dropped in 5 fights in the UFC. This guy, he doesn't get knocked out, but he does get dropped. Mateusz Gamrot, ranked number 6, should move up to number 5 as Michael Chandler hasn't fought since November of 2022. As for Dos Anjos, I don't think he's going to drop down at all, but the time's drawing near. You could just tell in this one. Rafael Dos Anjos is 39 years old. I mean, he's getting old. His birthday's in October, and Mateusz Gamrot, 33 in his prime, and he's got a big fight coming up next for him. He's going to be in the top 5, and I'm looking at Dustin Poirier. I'm looking at the loser of Charles Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan. You could even give him to Islam Makhachev. Just a top guy from Mateusz Gamrot is what I want to see next. As for RDA, retirement, a guy below him, it's tough to say. Him and Benoit Saint Denis, I feel, could put on a good fight. Winner of Bobby Green and Jim Miller could also fight Rafael dos Anjos. A lot of options, but Mateusz Gamrot getting it done. 11 takedowns. That's crazy. That is crazy. Mateusz Gamrot now has, I'm going to see how many takedowns he has. He has 12, 16, 20, 24, 25, 27, 32. He now has 32 takedowns in his 9 UFC fights. Wow. My goodness. Big takedown, man. But yeah, Mateusz Gamrot getting it done. Moving into our second to last prelim of the night, we head to the women's flyweight division. As number 4 ranked Caitlin Serminara took on number 6 ranked Macy Barber. And Macy Barber has so far been the only woman to break the EA Fighter Edition curse. I mean, any fighter on the cover, any fighter added to the game, had previously lost before Macy Barber turned it up and beat Caitlin Serminara. Totals from the fight, 84 significant strikes to 66 in favor of Macy. 122 to 99 total strikes in favor of Macy. 4 of 4 on takedowns for almost 5 minutes control time, compared to 1 of 6 on takedowns for Caitlin Serminara. Round 1, Macy outstrikes her, defends 5 takedowns. Impressive. Round 2, lands 2 takedowns. Even though Caitlin outstruck her, got it done. Macy Barber, took her down twice in round 3. Caitlin took her down once, and then, outstruck her. Just all there is for the fight. Macy Barber now rides a 6-fight win streak. I won't lie, of those 6 wins, 5 are now by decision. But you know what? She'll now be ranked number 4 in the world come Tuesday. Impressive stuff. And I think she's got the loser of Erin Blanchfield and Manny Fiorot, which goes down March 30th. And that's what's next for her. Caitlin Serminara, though, is now on a 2-fight losing streak, and in all of her UFC fights has gone the distance. Only time she hasn't gotten the distance is when Valentina Shevchenko and Jessica Andrade TKO'd her. So that's fun. But man, oh man, Macy Barber, impressive stuff. Caitlin Serminara should probably fight someone like Natalie Silva, Tracy Cortez, someone below them, someone who can get a spot in the rankings. But Macy Barber, happy for her, broke the EA curse. Very, very fun. I'll tell you who didn't break the EA curse, though. That is Halted Almeida, who, wow, I've never seen someone set a record and then lose in the same fight. It's very weird. Number 7 ranked Halton Almeida took on number 5 ranked Curtis Razor Blades, and this was one of the weirdest fights I've ever seen. Round 1, neither man landed a significant strike. Halton landed 8 of his 8 strikes thrown. Curtis landed 3 of 5, as Halton Almeida took down Curtis Blades 9 of 12 times for 4 minutes and 39 seconds control time. Halton Almeida just set the heavyweight record for most takedowns landed in a round. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Definitely 10-8'd him. Definitely took it to Curtis Blades. Crowd was booing. Halton Almeida doing what he does. Doing what he does best. Just, hammering the takedowns. Is what it is. Round 2 kicks off. Okay, doing some striking. Ooh, Halton Almeida lands a significant strike. Curtis Blades landing some good strikes. Halton Almeida then shoots a very bad takedown, and Curtis Blades unleashes a fury of hammer fists and TKOs Halton Almeida 36 seconds into round number 2. And the crowd is going nuts. The living room I was in was going nuts. And just shocking. Just shocking. I mean, Halton Almeida, clearly a one-dimensional fighter, just shooting for takedowns, which makes no sense to me, as, I thought he had knockout power when he fought Danielo Marquez, when he fought Shamil Abdurkimov, but I guess not. Curtis Blades gets his first win since July of 2022, his first official win since March of 2022, and, of course, the July one, he got an injury over Tom Aspinall, but Curtis Blades, impressive to see. He gets his, 13th career KO. How about that? And Halton Almeida suffers his second loss by KO in his career and snaps a 15-fight win streak. Wow, just insane. The cover curse is real for Halton Almeida. Not the cover curse, the EA addition to the game curse. Curtis Blades, happy for him. He's ranked 4. He's ranked 5. Stipe Miocic is ranked 4th. I say we bump Curtis Blades past Stipe. I mean, just absolutely amazing. As for Halton Almeida, honestly, you could move Tai Tuivasa past Sergey Spivak and Halton Almeida just to beef him up. But other than Curtis Blades moving up a spot, I don't think you need to do anything. What's next for Curtis Blades? I think Tom Aspinall interim title shot. Cyril God kind of spurred everyone, by saying he won't fight Tom Aspinall, he won't fight Curtis Blades. And now Curtis Blades and Tom Aspinall say they won't fight Cyril God. So you could do Curtis Blades versus Tom Aspinall. That could be a Fun fight. As for Holton Almeida, I mean, Sergey Spivak could be a fight for you. Winner of Tai Tuivasa, Marcin Tybura. He could fight Alexander Romanov. I don't know, but it was hilarious watching him get TKO'd after setting a record in round number 1. So that was the prelims. Prelims were fun, and everyone who got finished, the 3 guys, Curse Blades, Michel Perrin, Robelis Despangay, all got $50K. Dana was feeling generous. The gate for this pay-per-view was the 4th largest in UFC history, which is exciting to think. So that was that, and we got into the main card, what we all came to see. And might I add, I actually went to get Shamrock Shakes with 2 of my cousins, and when we came back, we thought we were going to have to find our own way to watch the fights. And we get home, and my parents and my uncle and aunt, they had the fights on, and I was just super hyped. And you know what? They did not disappoint. I will say there was some good, there was some bad. Let's talk about the good. Petr Yan and Song Yadong, a competitive fight, so competitive. And thank goodness I said Petr Yan would win by split decision. He got the unanimous, though, as Petr Yan gets his first win since October of 2021. I was so excited to see it. I was just overjoyed. I was overjoyed. Petr Yan got the dub here, and might I add, nonetheless, very close fight. Round 1, Song Yadong probably won. Landed a takedown, was landing more with Petr Yan. Petr Yan was showing a bit of ring rust. Round 2, though, picked it up. 61 total strikes to 40, even landed a takedown. And round 3, Petr Yan turned it up. 36 significant strikes to 35, landed a takedown of his own. Totals from the fight, 99 significant strikes to 88, favor of Petr Yan. 129 total strikes to 104, favor of Petr Yan. 2 of 5 on takedowns for Petr Yan, 1 of 8 for Song Yadong. And, this does snap a little 2-fight win streak for Song Yadong, but don't be discouraged. Song Yadong's losses are now to Kyler Phillips, Corey Sandhagen, and Petr Yan. All of those have aged beautifully. But as for Petr Yan, like I said, first win since October 2021, snaps a 3-fight losing streak. This was much, much needed. And probably would have won fight of the night if not for the co-main event, but yeah, this one was competitive. Petr Yan will keep his number 4 spot in the rankings, and might I add, Petr Yan's only losses in the UFC are to the top 3 guys and the champion in the bantamweight division, so very impressive. Song Yadong might lose his number 7 spot to Davison Figueiredo, might keep it. We'll see what happens. But Song Yadong, I think the winner of Davison Figueiredo and Cody Garbrandt could be a fun fight for him. Depending on Umar Nurmagomedov and Corey Sandhagen, if that fight happens, that could be a fun fight. I also like Jonathan Martinez versus Song Yadong, and you could even have Kyler Phillips try and get another win over Song Yadong. But Petr Yan, now ranked number 4, excited to see what's next for No Mercy. Just, I was so happy to see him get done. Sad to see Song lose, as I really enjoy him, and actually so brutal. Petr Yan actually had cuts on both of Song Yadong's eyes, and it looked like he was just crying blood. His eyes were leaking blood from the top of the eyelids. Pretty interesting image to see. Petr Yan will now be ranked number 4. Holds a win. Actually, no, he holds a win over Corey Sandhagen. I forgot about that. Petr Yan's losses in the UFC are to the number 1, 2, and champion. Merab Dvalishvili will obviously be taking on Sugar Sean later in the year. Number 2 ranked Aljamain Sterling will be leaving the division when he takes on Calvin Kattar, which leaves Corey Sandhagen available. Honestly, Petr Yan could take on Marlon Vera. I could see that fight happening. Petr Yan, Marlon Vera, both. Marlon Vera on his way down, Petr Yan on his way up. How about you do that fight? But good job to Petr Yan and Song Yadong putting their lives on the line. Next fight up. It just doesn't get more beautiful than this, boys. It just doesn't get more beautiful than this. We said Jack Della Maddalena was getting that KO. I was thinking Gilbert Burns all week. I changed it for the pod, and my analysis was correct. Jack Della Maddalena gets a round 3 TKO of Gilbert Burns, and also, might I add, gets a little $50K bonus money. But this fight was no easy walk for Jack Della Maddalena. First off, round 1. Dead even striking. 18 significant strikes for both men. Gilbert Burns goes 3 of 3 on takedowns for 1 minute and 15 seconds. The takedowns was what Gilbert Burns was using to have success in this fight. Round 2, Gilbert Burns got outstruck 21-9, significant strikes. The striking was looking crisp for Jack, but Gilbert still landed 2 of 2 takedowns. Round 3 gets going, and Gilbert Burns shoots 2 of 6 takedowns, doesn't even go for a strike, gets hit with a beautiful knee from Jack Della Maddalena, wobbles him, he falls down, Jack Della Maddalena gets on top and lands some nasty elbows. The fight honestly could have been stopped a bit sooner, and even after the Dan Miragliotta pulled Jack off him, Gilbert Burns just laid there on the mat. I mean, he was in bad shape, couldn't even get up for the hand raise. Jack Della Maddalena, an absolute stud. But of the 3 judges, 2 of them gave rounds 1 and 2 to Gilbert Burns, which just was not the case. Round 1 could have went to Gilbert Burns, but round 2 is definitely Jack Della Maddalena's round on my scorecard. But it doesn't matter. Maddalena didn't want to leave it up to any judges. He wins his 17th straight fight and gets his 12th career knockout. Amazing. And Maddalena now on a 7 fight win streak, which is tied with Shavkat Rakhmonov for the longest in the welterweight division. Gilbert Burns, 2nd straight loss, now 2-3 his last 5 fights. I don't know, man. I don't know. 3-4 since 2021 as well, I might add. Gilbert Burns, he's 37. He's 37. He has to be realistic. 37, birthday's in July. Got knocked out bad in this one. I don't know what's next for him, but we shall see. Jack Della Maddalena impressing me so much in this one. Oh man, very, very much enjoyed this one. I was going crazy when he finished him. And Jack Della Maddalena is now going to go from being ranked number 11th to being ranked number 4 in the men's welterweight division. We went from being no contenders to now having Bilal Muhammad, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Ian Gary, and now Jack Della Maddalena is absolutely phenomenal. Jack Della Maddalena actually called out Shavkat Rakhmonov. That feels like the next fight, as it seems they're just going to give Bilal his title shot against Leon Edwards, probably in, maybe even in London you do that fight. I don't know what they're going to do, but that could be next. As for Gilbert Burns, maybe an Ian Gary fight. Maybe the winner of Sean Brady and Jeff Neal. Maybe, I don't even know, guys. I don't even know, Fakhretdinov. Gilbert Burns, going to need to take some time off, man. Just tough loss, but Jack Della Maddalena getting it done, and I predicted it. All right, I said there was some good, I said there was some bad, and as we head to our next welterweight bout between Michael Page and Kevin Holland, I predicted Michael Page would win. Now, I thought he'd knock him out. I honestly thought he'd knock Kevin Holland out, but Kevin Holland has a solid chin. But I will say this was a boring fight. It was a boring fight. Michael Page had a crazy Undertaker entrance, was dancing, got me one of the longest entrances in UFC history. Competitive fight, but, totals from the fight, Michael Page, 41 significant strikes to 29. Total strikes, Kevin Holland, 64 to 59. Kevin Holland goes 2 of 5 on takedowns for 4.5 minutes. Michael Page, 0 of 3 for a minute and a half control time. There was one moment in round 2 where Kevin Holland almost submitted Michael Page, but the whole fight, Kevin Holland just could not get a read of Michael Page's striking. I mean, talk about round number 3. Kevin Holland threw 8 significant strikes, landed 2 of them. Michael Page had 14. Just not much activity. Not much activity in this one, which really just was not what I was looking for when I wanted to see this fight. But you know what? Michael Page gets his win, 22nd win of his career. He'll now be ranked number 13th in the UFC. Kevin Holland probably be ranked like number 14th or something. But, Kevin Holland's 2nd straight loss, his stock doesn't go down, but it was kind of just like Michael Page just had the weirdest approach. His stance was weird. And first off, all his hits looked hard. I kept thinking he was going for a spinning kick or something, but never went for it just based on how he was standing. Crazy to think that we now get Michael Page in the UFC, and people are already talking about him versus Wonderboy Thompson. That could be a fight you do. Him versus Neil Magny, him versus Vicente Luque, and Joaquin Buckley winner. A lot of options. As for Kevin Holland as well, Kevin Holland could fight Neil Magny. Kevin Holland could fight an unranked welterweight. He could fight Jeff Neal. Sky's the limit for both these guys. But they're probably going to be buddy-buddy after this one. Good win for Michael Page. I predicted he'd win, but just not the most exciting fight, we'll say. Co-main event, though. Yeah, this was a banger, and Benoit had so many chances. Oh, the freaking round, the submission for Benoit Saint-Denis was there. The knockout was there at times. This was just a war. And man, oh man, number 3, Dustin Poirier, number 12, Benoit Saint-Denis, fight of the night. Let me just take you through. So in round number 1, Benoit's striking was on point. 38 significant strikes to 12, landed 2 of 4 takedowns for 3 minutes, 20 seconds. Dustin Poirier attempted 3 guillotines in this one, all of which failed. Benoit actually almost was able to get a submission off, was almost able to wrap up a rear naked choke. But man, I thought Dustin Poirier was going to be out of there. Benoit had the pressure on him. But as it turned out, this was already theorized in the build-up to the camp that Benoit St. Denis had a staph infection, and he gassed out in round 2. And you know what? He landed 1 of 3 takedowns, did the best he could. I mean, Dustin Poirier even jumped another guillotine in round number 2, which was a meme. But Dustin Poirier lands a beautiful knockout punch with that right hand. It was just, actually, I think it was a right or left, doesn't matter. Dustin Poirier, round 2 knockout. Might be knockout of the year as of right now, especially on a pay-per-view. Gets the fight of the night. Both men get $50K. No one's stock goes down. Everyone's stock goes up. Amazing. Benoit St. Denis, might I add, just an absolute dog taking this fight. And Dustin Poirier had nothing but respect. Nothing but respect. I mean, he even mentioned how Eddie Alvarez gave him a shot one day and that, he had to return the favor by giving it to Benoit. Benoit, take some time, recover, come back in Paris, France. Unlimited options for Benoit St. Denis. I'd love to see him versus someone like Rafael Fiziev or Benil Dariush, someone like that, Dan Hooker even. But as for Dustin Poirier, I mean, my goodness, talk about that. Dustin Poirier, 35 years old, getting his 16th career knockout. Happy to see Dustin turning around in this one. Impressive as they come. But what's next? What's next for the Diamond? I mean, he's talking title shot against Islam Makhachev in June. People are talking a trilogy with Justin Gaethje. They're talking Conor McGregor. They're talking the loser of Charles Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan. I mean, a lot of options for Dustin. You could give him a title shot. I wouldn't really care. Here's my only issue with giving Dustin Poirier a title shot. What could he do differently against Islam Makhachev that, he didn't do against Oliveira and Khabib? Khabib and Oliveira did the exact same thing to Dustin Poirier. Took him down, submitted him. Okay, and Islam, I mean, will do even worse to him. Probably might even finish him in round number 1. Because look at what Benoit did. Benoit St. Denis was able to take him down 3 times. Able to take him down 3 times, control him. Luckily for Dustin, Benoit gassed, and he was able to knock him out. That won't happen with Islam. So, personally, I wouldn't give him the Islam fight. I would love to just, maybe see him fight the winner of Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje, a little BMF fight. But you know what? We shall see. Fun times around. Dustin Poirier, I'll give it to you. I was kind of a hater, but Dustin Poirier, you're a stud. You're a stud. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we get to the final fight of the evening. Final fight to talk about on the podcast. It's almost midnight on a Monday night. My goodness, Zachary, what are you doing? But yes, Sugar Sean O'Malley in his first title defense against Marlon Chito Vera, the number 8 ranked pound-for-pound fighter in the world, will definitely be moving up to the number 6 spot in the pound-for-pound rankings as he gets a dominant unanimous decision victory. 230 significant strikes to 89, attempted 358 total strikes. All right, just insane. Sugar Sean O'Malley winning his 3rd straight fight, improves to 18-1 professionally, and honestly, that first fight, that his only loss against Marlon Vera, is really looking like a fluke now. Marlon Vera now 1-2 his last 3. Oh my goodness. And just from the get-go, round 1, Sean O'Malley just outstrikes him 27-9. And we had seen this with Marlon Vera. We had seen him kind of, give up the first 2 rounds, come alive in the third, 4th, and 5th. Round 2, though, Sean O'Malley outstrikes him even more, 51-16. Just absolutely crazy, okay? Round 3, 35-17, a bit closer. And then round number 4, Sean O'Malley hits Marlon Vera with just, I think it was round 4. It might have been round 2, actually. I think it was round 2. He hit him with such an intense knee. I think everyone thought Marlon Vera was knocked out. They don't know how he took it. And oh my goodness, just Sean O'Malley put the pressure on, couldn't get the finish, but just the sheer intensity was out of this world. Round 5, Sean O'Malley's best freaking round striking-wise. 61 significant strikes to 21. 8 one-body shot from Marlon Vera as time expired. I'm talking as time expired. I mean, like, the fist was in the gust as the final horn was going off. That was the biggest shot Marlon Vera landed all fight. I mean, wow, just crazy to see. Marlon Vera was all puffy. Sean O'Malley was in bad shape. These 2 men went to war, and Sean O'Malley got performance of the night for what he did to Marlon Vera. Absolutely crazy from Sugar Sean. He is the bantamweight champion. I thought he'd get that knockout, and you got me, boys, let me just tell you, when that knee landed in round number 2, and I had that round 2 knockout, I was like, there's no way I just predicted this. But nonetheless, I got Sugar Sean correct. My only incorrect ones were Benoit St. Denis, who I may have had too much faith in. And I've never really picked Dustin Poirier personally. Joanne won Marina Moroz, which was a toss-up. Felipe Linzai Kulaba, a toss-up. And Curtis Blades Halton Almeida, which, trust me, I thought Halton was going to steamroll him to a win, but Curtis showing me how it's done. Sugar Sean O'Malley got to move up to the number 6 spot. He's ranked number 8. Volkanovski and Oliveira are ahead of him. I mean, come on. Sean O'Malley, an absolute star. And he called out Ian Topira, but everyone just kind of, told him, hey, don't chase that money fight. Even Ian Topira said, you got to fight Merab Dvalishvili next. So excited for that fight whenever it goes down. Whenever we get Merab and Sean O'Malley later in the year, that's for certain. Then he's going to need to rest up after this win. But that's going to be the toughest test of Sean O'Malley's career. Clearly, Marlon Vera is just not a challenge to Sean O'Malley whatsoever. Dominated him. I know Marlon Vera, people are talking about, let's do a trilogy. They each own a win. No. Sean O'Malley owned Marlon Vera and owned the night, and he truly is a star. He truly is a star. I know people are saying he's got no personality, but let me tell you, he's got the personality of a superstar. And that's his song. If you are what you say you are, a superstar. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is all we got for the podcast. This was such a fun event, UFC 299, and I'm excited to see what's in the future for us. Coming up this Saturday, we head back to the UFC Apex for UFC Vegas 88. I believe it is. Is it Vegas? Yeah, it's Vegas 88. Headlined by top 10 heavyweights Tai Tuivasa and Marcin Tybura. You also have some fun fighters in Brian Battle on this card. Kenny Njoukani, Isaac Dalgarian, Brian Barberina, Rafael Filo, Diego Moises. A lot of guys will be covering that whole card Thursday for episode 74. Should be a fun time, though. And you know what? Thank you all for listening to this episode. Have a great week, and I'll catch you next time on the Surprise Jab Podcast.